Greetings everyone. Today's video is brought to you by Angry Orchard. I know it's not a very hard drink or anything like that, but it tastes good and I like drinking it and I'm feeling good because of it. Good stuff. So, what do we have today? Well, I've decided I'm going to come out of the shadows, so to speak, and maybe try and do some more YouTube videos. Lately, I've been very busy as of the past year. Even like throughout 2016 and already 2017, I've been slammed with stuff that's been going on. The last video I did, I think, was November 2015, and I decided, why not get back into it, or try to get back into it. I've got a class coming up that's going to be 3 weeks long, and then after that, I'm not going to say where or for how long, or I'm not going to say where or when I'm going, but I'm going to Europe for 4 months. I have to kind of keep the operational security there. Oh, and notice I'm not going to edit stuff out of this video like I never do. Not because I'm lazy or because I don't give a shit, but because I feel like people are imperfect, and this justifies that, and I think it needs to be shown. I'm not perfect, and I'm proud of that, and I'm damn sure none of y'all are perfect out there. So, what am I doing today? Well, I've decided I'm going to do a series of videos. It's not going to be video after video after video. It's going to be videos spread out of other videos I may be doing, just regular album reviews of stuff I like, dislike, stuff that's coming out, stuff that's been out for a while, or whatever. I'm going to do classic album reviews, and this is probably going to be pretty much all metal, depending on what I feel like doing. Today we're going to be focusing on an album from the Norwegian black metal scene in the early 1990s, known as the second wave of black metal. And I'm sure everyone who's familiar with black metal knows about it. If you're not familiar with black metal, this includes bands such as Burzum, Mayhem, Darkthrone, Satyricon, stuff like that, Enslaved, and even more lesser known stuff like Strid. Strid's a great band, man. If y'all haven't even checked out Strid, you need to. But I'm going to be talking about Emperor and the Nightside Eclipse. I have the t-shirt. I got the album back on black vinyl. It's not an original pressing. It's a repress. Doesn't matter to me. And then I have another repress of the album, which was released on Candlelight Records, which is actually where the original one was released on as well. But this is a digibook. It includes a second disc, which has bonus stuff on it. And it also has, of course, the regular album and the booklet in here as well. The vinyl that I have has the blue vinyl. It's actually kind of a blue swirl vinyl. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if the camera's gonna let me show it to y'all. Not really, but it's got kind of a cloud in there, and it also has a sleeve, I believe. I haven't listened to this in a while. There's no sleeve. Okay, I actually bought this on eBay, so I think it may be missing stuff. But I love the picture when you open this. It's really cool, and it includes the lyrics on the bottom right there. So, Emperor. Emperor was formed in 1991 in Norway, and they were around until 2001 for their original run of, I guess you could say their original musical run. They were around until 2001, so about 10 years. It really wasn't that long of a run, and they released 4 albums in that time. In the Nightside Eclipse, Anthems to the Welkin at Dusk, Equilibrium, and Prometheus. Now, those 4 albums are their only full lengths. They've also done live stuff, and even before In the Nightside Eclipse came out, they had the Wrath of the Tyrant demo, which I have a really neat flag over there, actually, over here on my wall. Ignore the bed. The bed is a mess because I just did laundry and didn't fold it yet, but there is the flag. They've also had EPs such as the, the self-titled EP, which was released as a split with Enslaved. That's something that a lot of people are aware of. Enslaved released their demo alongside Emperor's EP as a repress. And this album here is their classic full-length debut. Wow. Came out in 1994. It was recorded during 1993. And it has basically just 8 of the greatest black metal songs you could listen to. It's really just... This is the album that has influenced a lot of people to play this symphonic style of music. Bands like Dimmu Borgir that came out of Norway as well, you could definitely tell they were influenced by Emperor. They definitely have gotten more publicity and they became very, very popular. But for their beginning, you can tell that Emperor was one of their main influences. Other bands like another big one, Cradle of Filth from England, pretty obvious as well. Emperor, however, was one of the first bands to incorporate the symphonic style in their black metal. The keyboards and orchestrations are amazing. They're grand, they're beautiful, and complemented with the production value of this record, which is very dirty. It's very fuzzy, atmospheric. The tone of the guitar is just, it's so fuzzy. It's one of those things where when I first heard this album, I was shocked, but it definitely grows. If you're not a fan of lo-fi raw music, this might not appeal to you, but it's still really beautiful, and those atmospheric keyboards help everything even more. You can hear the bass a little bit as well. It's there, you can kind of hear it. And the drums, that classic black metal blast beat sound is everywhere on this album. I believe it was Fenris from Darkthrone who described blast beats once as a lawn sprinkler. It kind of makes sense when you think about it, but it's a little bit of humor. Emperor and the Nightside Eclipse. What else can I say? This album begins with the track Into the Infinity of Thoughts. It's a longer one, and it's one of my favorite songs of the album. This is an example of starting the album pretty much at its strongest point. It begins after a short intro with noise and like what I could describe as this very evil ambient sounding noise, and it almost sounds kind of Doom-esque, and then it goes right into the song, and it explodes, and it kicks your butt. It's awesome. There are some really good moments in this album of clean guitars. Take Towards the Pantheon, for example. That song starts off with a very clean opener, but then it just explodes again into the black metal that is Emperor. I know there are some versions of this album that have covers of Gypsy by Merciful Fate and Finding to Die from Bathory, and those covers are outstanding. If you could get the version of the album with those covers, I would highly recommend it. It's something really awesome. So, some notes on Emperor and the Nightside Eclipse also that I find interesting. This is their only full length that they played with Faust. He was convicted of murder because, as we all know in the community, and most people understand this, there was a homosexual man, this was in Norway, and a gay man approached him and asked him to follow him into the woods, so he did, and apparently the man came on to him, so he stabbed him. I'm not going to condone what he did, but it's just something interesting to know about the band's history, and it's really interesting that this was his only album that he performed as a full length. It's one of the best drum performances on an Emperor album as well. It's very raw, but it's fantastic. Some other things that I want to point out is the album artwork, which is glorious. The guy's name escapes me at this moment. I cannot think of it. I apologize, but I'm pretty sure this guy also did album covers for bands such as Dissection and Antester. I don't have my copy of Dissection's The Somber Lane with me. It's actually sitting on my desk at work. I do have a Dissection flag over for Storm of the Light's Bane, and I'm pretty sure he did that album cover as well. This guy also did stuff for Volkundra. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. I could be doing that wrong. But really interesting to see how he does all this work for bands like this. And I think out of all the Norwegian black metal bands, this is probably, it's in my top 5 of their albums. I'm not going to say this is my favorite, because as a lot of people know, my favorite black metal album of all time, would be this. Burzum's Visli Setaros, or Until the Light Takes Us. I wish the light would cooperate with me in here. But this isn't about that. So, I'm not going to... This is kind of a video trying to get me back into the feel of things. I know for a fact this isn't a perfect review, but it's basically at this point I'm just trying to kind of get back into the flow, because I've been out of this for so long. I write stuff on the Metal Archives, but this ain't the same as going on there and typing in a review. I'm trying to talk about the music. As far as the score for this album, most classic albums are going to be probably a 10 out of 10 or a 9.5 out of 10, so I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm going to rate this into the description. It's just going to say classic, and I'm pretty sure... I can't tell you, I saw a reviewer on YouTube who does that. I can't tell you who it is, but it makes sense as to why he does it, because the album is a classic. You're not really going to give it a score because it should be on the same level as other classics. Granted, it won't be, but I think it makes more sense to give it that rating of classic over a number rating. So, Emperor and the Nightside Eclipse, classic. I advise anyone into black metal to check it out if you haven't. Favorite songs off this album total would have to be obviously In the Infinity of Thoughts, Towards the Pantheon, and there's a song called I Am the Black Wizards. And this song starts after the Majesty of the Night Sky, which ends with a sample of thunder from a thunderstorm, and there's a riff in this song. It's one of my favorite riffs of black in any black metal song ever written, and it's repeated a couple of times throughout the first verse. It's really good. This is one of my favorite songs. Inno Asatana is really good too. They did a symphonic instrumental version of the song as well from the Reverence EP, which I really advise y'all to listen to. It's freaking awesome. Isan, this has to be Isan. I think Isan's best work. Although his solo work is good, and his album After is awesome. If I had to choose an Isan album that I would say rivals Emperor stuff, it would be After. But I don't think he's been able to touch his own legacy since he recorded this. So, that gets that one out of the way. I want to know what y'all want me to do next, if anyone is actually watching this. I have some ideas for classic reviews, such as maybe, because these guys have an album coming out this year, a follow-up to their last album, The Voice of Steel, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. It wouldn't necessarily be a classic, maybe a modern classic, but this series is about classic albums, as in older albums. Nocturne Mortem Lunar Poetry is their second demo, and definitely considered a classic in the black metal genre as well. Also, one of my favorite bands I haven't really listened to in a long time, In Flames. These 3 albums are what I don't have Horacle on me, so I can't show you that one, but those 4 albums, Horacle, or Lunar Strain, The Jester Race, Horacle, and Colony are what I consider to be their classic period, with Colony being my favorite. Clayman is kind of when they went towards that more modern sound, so I don't count that. Other albums I might want to do, maybe some more black metal stuff, maybe even more well-known bands like Megadeth or Metallica, because I'm not going to do full discography reviews of any bands like that. I might not even do full discography reviews, period. I don't know yet. But as far as classic albums, I want to know what y'all want me to talk about. And as far as albums, period, I would love suggestions. Anything like that would help. Thanks for watching this video. As I said, this was brought to you by Angry Orchard. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I didn't suck too much. See y'all later.